Welcome you on Sports Talk and the Success Table and get it all started with, how did you get involved with football as a kid?
It was relatively late, I think, compared to most. It wasn't until I was in the 8th grade and just loved the game of football and wanted to give it a try. So I went out, tried out for the team, and did pretty well with all the agility stuff and speed stuff, but I never played football before, so they stuck me back there as a running back, and just wasn't very good. To be honest, I didn't understand the whole concept of it, and so I was quickly benched after that. But over the years, I started to understand the game a little bit more, and things progressively got better.
Definitely, man. So in sports as a kid, who were some of your role models?
Gosh, well, I was a gymnast growing up. I was up until I was 12, 13 years old. So I watched a lot of gymnastics, and I watched a lot of Seattle Seahawks, which is my team. And so I think Steve Largent was one of the first guys that I looked up to growing up in football. And Michael Jordan. Then I lived in the Chicago area in the mid-'80s. So just watching him and his work ethic and his competitiveness, I just wanted to be like Mike, just like the commercials.
Definitely. So scrolling it forward for you personally, the 1997 season at Eastern Washington, how did you produce the records, man? How did you go from not producing much up to that season going for the records at Eastern Washington?
Well, after sitting on the bench for 4 years at Eastern Washington, a very small school and not very successful season, and you had 4 years to grow, to get stronger, to run faster. And my best friend, who was a quarterback, we trained in the off season, in the summers. We were on the same page as, with everything, and everything just kind of came together that season. We started off hot, and I was supposed to be sharing reps with another receiver, and I had a good first game, scored 3 touchdowns in the first half, and then was benched. But we were up a lot, and from there it just kind of took off, and unbeknownst to myself, started being noticed by some of the NFL teams. So it was a whirlwind, unexpected, and it was an exciting time for me for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, my audience probably doesn't know this, but 20 years later, Mr. Cooper Kupp was in there doing your type of stats. Was watching him at Eastern Washington, how did you like his way of going about things?
Yeah, there's a couple things I love about Cooper Kupp, even though he destroyed all the records I had set. But in watching him play, just his intelligence and how he plays the game, it's not a full out crazy, speed and aggressiveness. He's very intelligent about how he uses his body, uses his speed, comes out of breaks, gets that separation, what they call it, away from the defensive back. And just the way he's willing to go inside and block and put his body in places where most receivers don't like to be. And I think one other great things, if anybody watches, is he always falls forward. His body lean, his angle, the way he gets tackled, he always gets a yard, 2, 4, 5 extra yards. And I think that's something that people won't look at very much, but it definitely is noticeable as far as, all right, we're in 2nd and 9 versus a 2nd and 5. And I think I love watching how he runs with the ball after the catch. I think it's pretty cool. He does a great job. So
Definitely.
I'm proud that he's out there doing his thing. And
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for another receiver from that same college that you went to was Kendrick Bourne. Is another one with the Patriots.
Ah, yeah. It's after that '97 season, kind of put our call. It was the first time we had ever won our conference outright. Lost in the semifinals, and it just seemed like that was kind of a starting point. And our program started getting more attention, started getting more recruits, and became a destination where athletes wanted to play. And now that style of football, they're playing that wide open, throw the ball all the time, and it's exciting. And you're going to get a lot of good athletes coming through there.
For sure. So for you, the NFL transition, why in the world did you pass up the Seattle Seahawks offer? What about it debunked you and you said, nope, I don't want to go to my hometown favorite team?
Well, it was a tough decision. No, it wasn't even a tough decision. I was the Seattle Seahawks at that time. They had their training camp at Eastern Washington University. And that summer going into my senior year, I was working as a security guard for the Seattle Seahawks. Basically, me and other players would stand around and not let, the public into the locker rooms or onto the field. So, and then just a year later, knowing that I would be at that exact same spot, but inside the lines of the football field, I just felt that there'd be too many distractions. I felt like honestly at the time that it was going to be more of a marketing thing. Like, this guy's not going to make the team, but hey, it's a good story. He's back at his college, and this is where, so I just felt it was something that wouldn't allow me to be as focused as I needed to be. So I chose the Dallas Cowboys, which is a pretty cool thing. So I think it was the right choice for sure.
Sure, my friend. Yeah, scrolling it forward in the World Bowl, that process with a foot injury, how did you manage to overcome those obstacles?
I think it was the seventh game of the season. We had 10 games and then a World Bowl championship, and tore up my foot, ankle, and toe. If anybody knows about turf toe or tearing a muscle in the arch of your foot and then severely spraining an ankle, it was probably the worst thing you could do to that area, especially as a wide receiver. And it was just a very grueling 2.5 or 3 week process, just riding a bike. And I did, they would give me calf blood pills, and they put me in hyperbaric chambers and stuff that I don't know was legal at the time here in the States, but I took advantage of it over there, and anything I could do to just get me healthy enough to play. And fortunately, Jerry Jones let me stay over there. Normally you'd have to come back, and just NFL Europe rules. But I said, hey, I'm over here for a reason. You sent me over here, I'm staying. And fortunately, he allowed me to do that. And, barely practiced, and then just suited up and gave it everything I could. And it was about, 60% at best, and re-aggravated it, to be honest, during that game. But I wanted to do it, and it was a great experience.
Definitely. I've read up on your that game, and after that game concluded, Jerry Jones came up to you. What did he say after the game to you?
He said, congratulations. And, he said, I think I wrote in my book, he said, congratulations, you did it. And it was something that when you go over with a group of guys that just became acquainted with a few months prior, and you go through a season in a country that a lot of those guys, haven't even been to and don't know the language, the culture. We came together and put everything together for that one game, that one season, and we're leaving with, an opportunity, a lot of us, to make an NFL team. But to have the owner of the Dallas Cowboys come up and congratulate you, and in that time of emotion, and it was pretty cool and a nice culmination to that season.
Definitely. So, scrolling it forward in your football journey, life after football, how have you applied the trials and tribulations of the game to your personal life?
Yeah, once I finished up my career, I just kind of took with me that same work ethic, that same determination, that drive, and in anything that I did. I didn't know how to do anything halfway. I didn't know how to relax or be patient. And I think it helps in a lot of ways. Some I just need to relax a little bit more. And but you know, it allowed me to be successful in different areas of my life. And um, it's what I talk about in my book is other individuals who may not be as talented like myself. I was not as talented. I was undersized. I was slower and all those things. But I think my work ethic kind of leveled the playing field, so to speak.
For sure. So, my next two questions are brought to you by B&D Sports Media, and I'll start it off with the Cowboys. How disappointing was it to see them go out in the first round with all the talent they have on the offense and on the defense?
Oh, I don't know how many Cowboy fans you get listening to this, but gosh, I hate to say it, but it was kind of expected on my part, and just watching them and their inconsistencies. And I just didn't have a lot of faith. Like if I was a betting man, I just wouldn't have put money on it. I know they were favored, but just to watch over the course of this season, you know, from game to game, oh, their offense looked great, but it was kind of against a team that didn't put up much resistance. So their defense looked great in spots, but I just feel like they didn't tackle well. And you put those things together with inconsistencies, it doesn't surprise me. I was hoping, from where I know the whole state of Texas is up in arms about this season, but it was disappointing for sure. But for me, it wasn't that great of a surprise.
For sure. I think it all started with them shipping out Smith, the linebacker, and the questionable play calls too.
Yeah, there was a lot of, I guess, game management. See a lot of things with the timeouts and the clock management, stuff that you expect your head coach, who's not coordinating your side of the ball, to be on top of. And so that was throughout the season. There's always been talk. And so that was something you don't normally hear from, because that's an obvious area that you need to shore up and make sure is correct. So, all those things, you put it all together and you get a early exit of the playoffs, and that's where the Cowboys find themselves.
For sure. Like that run at the end. God, why would you do that?
Yeah, and I've heard everybody talk, and I've heard, I mean, you have those last couple of plays, people like, oh, well, you know what you're doing. We try to get to the 30, so we're going to run a play, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what that play is. Why do you need to spike the ball and wait to get everybody lined up? You got a defense reeling. You spike the ball. Now the defense gets to set up, that last play. Offense, you already know what the play is. Go get to the line of scrimmage. It says spike in it. Run the play. There's no point of spiking it. That just allows the defense to get set up. So that's confusing to me, and I don't know if it'll ever be answered.
Sure. So what do you think, or what are the chances that the Cowboys find themselves without Mike McCarthy as their coach?
Everybody's talking down here like he's going to be around, that he's going to stay. I know Jerry Jones is very loyal. He takes care of his coaches. He gives them sometimes, to a fault, another chance. And I think the biggest concern, more concern, is what everybody's talking about down here, is losing either Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator, or Dan Quinn, our defensive coordinator, is potentially moving on and getting head coaching positions. So now you're kind of going to be stuck with a coach who has trouble doing his one job managing the game and then trying to bring in a new offense or defensive coordinator or both. So his talent is still here with the Cowboys, but it's who knows who's going to be running it, and there's a lot of questions yet to be answered.
Yeah, for sure. With McCarthy, I don't think he's ready for that spotlight. That's America's team.
Yeah,
he's used to Green Bay. That's a small market. Like, it's very, very different.
Oh, for sure. You gotta be in front of the camera at all times, and you have to, anything you say is going to be broken down, torn apart. And I mean, you watch Get Up, you watch First Take, and it's like, it almost seems like it's a Texas, sports talk show. They talk about the Cowboys every day, and there's no room for error, and the expectations are very high. So it seems like they're going to keep him around, but I don't know that that's the best idea, but what do I know?
I'm sure if someone asked Stephen A. Smith what he had to say, he'd have a field day.
He would not have a lack of words or opinions on that subject.
For sure. So, Jeff, I'll leave you on this. Where can my audience find you on social media? And also, where can they find your book?
My book is called Tackle Life Head On. My website, you can purchase it there, and I'll autograph it, ship it for free, pay the taxes, and that's liveheadon.com. And my social media, I can't remember. A lot of concussions. But yeah, they could probably find it on liveheadon.com, or just Google my name. I'm sure I'm on there somewhere.
Well, Jeff, it's been a blessing to have you on our show, and we'd welcome you back for another one, my friend.
Hey, thank you, Zach. Appreciate it.
Take care, and God bless you, my friend.
You as well.